Before love sweeps you off your feet, let's pause and talk about one of the most crucial lessons in modern dating: spotting red flags early. A red flag is not just a small inconvenience or a quirky habit. It's a warning sign, a signal that the relationship might not be healthy or sustainable in the long run. Imagine you're driving late at night and you see a bright red light flashing on your dashboard. Do you ignore it? Or do you pull over to check what's wrong? In dating, red flags work the same way. Ignoring them might feel easier at the moment, but the cost is often heartbreak, wasted years, or even emotional trauma. According to relationship expert Dr. John Gottman, the difference between a happy couple and a struggling one often lies in whether they pay attention to the warning signs. This wisdom is even more relevant today when dating apps and social media have blurred boundaries and sped up intimacy. For example, if someone you're dating shows controlling behavior early on, like checking your phone, questioning your friends, or demanding constant updates, that's not just affection, it's a red flag waving right in front of you. Sadly, many people mistake such behaviors for love or care, only to realize later that it was possessiveness disguised as passion. Think of it like fire. A warm flame can keep you cozy, but left unchecked, it can burn down the whole house. That's why being aware of dating red flags is not about being paranoid. It's about being prepared. By recognizing them, you protect your heart, your future, and your emotional health. So as we dive into this list of 10 dating red flags, keep this mantra in mind: red flags are not the end of love, but the beginning of wisdom. And if you truly want to build a healthy relationship, remember to subscribe to Love and Life Physiology, where we decode psychology, emotions, and the science of love to guide you towards stronger, happier connections. The first major red flag you must never ignore is lack of communication. Communication is the lifeblood of every relationship. It's the bridge that connects two hearts and two minds. Without it, love becomes nothing more than guesswork, and guesswork almost always leads to misunderstandings. Think about it. If you ask your partner how their day was and their response is always short, vague, or dismissive, that's not just shyness. Over time, this pattern builds walls instead of bridges. In healthy relationships, communication flows naturally, with both partners showing interest, asking questions, and sharing openly. But in toxic dynamics, silence becomes the weapon. For instance, the silent treatment is one of the most manipulative tools in unhealthy relationships. It's used to control, punish, or avoid responsibility. When one person refuses to talk, the other is left drowning in confusion, guilt, and frustration. Research published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships shows that couples who avoid communication during conflicts are more likely to experience dissatisfaction, resentment, and eventual breakup. Here's a simple, everyday example. Imagine you have a friend who suddenly stops replying to your texts, ignores your calls, and when you finally meet, shrugs it off by saying, "I was just busy." If that happens once, fine. But if it's a pattern, the message is clear: they're not prioritizing you. The same logic applies in dating. If your partner constantly avoids conversations about feelings, future plans, or even small disagreements, that's not maturity, it's evasion. Great love is not built in silence, it's built in dialogue. Oprah Winfrey once said, "Communication is the fuel that keeps the fire of love alive," and she's right. Without it, the flame dims until it dies out. So if you notice a consistent lack of communication, recognize it as a red flag, not a personality quirk. Address it early, and if nothing changes, walk away with courage. Because in the end, your heart deserves a relationship where words are bridges, not walls. The second dating red flag you must watch out for is disrespect. At first, disrespect might appear in small, almost invisible forms: an offhand joke at your expense, a dismissive tone, or rolling eyes when you express your feelings. But make no mistake, disrespect is never small. It plants seeds that grow into toxic vines, choking the relationship over time. In healthy love, respect is like oxygen. Without it, the connection suffocates. Imagine being in a conversation where every time you speak, your partner interrupts, talks over you, or dismisses your ideas. Eventually, you stop talking altogether, not because you don't have thoughts, but because you don't feel valued. That silence, born out of disrespect, is the death of intimacy. According to Dr. Emerson Eggerichs, author of Love and Respect, when respect is missing, love itself cannot survive for long. This insight is critical, especially in the dating stage when many people excuse disrespect as humor or mood swings. For example, if your partner constantly makes sarcastic jokes about your appearance, your job, or your family, that's not teasing, it's humiliation. Another clear example, let's say you're out with friends and your partner belittles you in front of others, brushing it off as just kidding. That sting you feel, it's not overreaction, it's your intuition warning you that this person does not honor you. Respect means listening, acknowledging, and uplifting each other. Without it, you're not partners, you're opponents in a silent battlefield. A relationship built on disrespect eventually becomes a cage where one person dominates and the other shrinks. That's why it's vital to notice these early signals. If someone can't respect your boundaries, your opinions, and your individuality in the dating stage, they will never transform into a respectful partner in the long run. True love uplifts, it doesn't degrade. So if you see disrespect, don't excuse it, don't justify it. Recognize it for what it is, a red flag waving high, telling you to protect your self-worth before it's too late. Another major dating red flag is inconsistency. Consistency is the backbone of trust, and without trust, no relationship can thrive. At the beginning, inconsistency often hides behind charm. One day, your partner showers you with affection, compliments, and promises of a future together. The next day, they vanish without explanation, leaving you confused and anxious. This emotional roller coaster is not romance, it's instability disguised as passion. Let's take an everyday example. Imagine your friend promises to pick you up for an important event. You wait, dressed and ready, but they don't show up, don't call, and later excuse it by saying, "Oh, I forgot." How would you feel? Frustrated, unimportant, and doubtful about relying on them again. In dating, inconsistency works the same way. A partner who texts you non-stop for a week and then disappears for days without explanation is not busy, they're showing you their priorities. According to psychologist Dr. Nicole Martinez, inconsistent behavior in relationships often indicates a lack of commitment or emotional maturity. This unpredictability leaves you constantly guessing, questioning where you stand, and adjusting your expectations downward. Over time, inconsistency erodes self-esteem because you start thinking, maybe I'm asking for too much. But you're not. You're asking for stability, which is the foundation of love. Real love doesn't keep you guessing, it reassures you. In fact, the healthiest relationships feel almost boring at times because they're steady, reliable, and safe. And that boring stability is what creates long-lasting joy. If someone's words and actions don't align, if they promise the world but deliver excuses, believe their actions, not their promises. Remember this golden rule. Consistency is not about grand gestures, it's about showing up every day in small, meaningful ways. So when dating, pay attention not just to how someone treats you once, but how they treat you consistently over time. Inconsistency isn't a phase, it's a red flag that warns you of deeper emotional unreliability. The fifth red flag in dating that demands your attention is jealousy and controlling behavior. At first, jealousy may look flattering. Your partner might say, "I just care too much about you," or "I don't like when others get too close to you." On the surface, it can feel like a sign of deep love. But dig deeper, and you'll realize it's not love, it's insecurity, dressed up as passion. True love is built on trust, not control. When a partner constantly wants to know where you are, who you're with, and what you're doing, it crosses the line from care to control. Think of it like this. Imagine you plant a flower in your garden. If you water it, give it sunlight, and let it grow freely, it blooms beautifully. But if you place it under a glass box, never letting it breathe or stretch, it wilts and dies. Relationships work the same way. A controlling partner suffocates your individuality until there's nothing left of you but what they allow. Small signs of this red flag include constant phone checking, demanding access to your passwords, or getting angry when you spend time with family or friends. Over time, these behaviors escalate, turning into isolation, where your world shrinks down to just them. According to Dr. Brahmani Durvesela, a clinical psychologist who studies toxic relationships, jealousy often reflects deep insecurity, and when it fuels controlling behavior, it's one of the strongest predictors of an abusive dynamic. Everyday examples make this clear. If your partner flips out because you liked a friend's photo on Instagram, or if they guilt-trip you for going to dinner with co-workers, that's not love, it's emotional manipulation. Healthy partners encourage your independence, celebrate your friendships, and trust your judgment. Unhealthy partners demand control because they fear losing you. But here's the truth. Love that cages you isn't love, it's possession. If you notice jealousy and control early on, take it seriously. Don't wait for it to change, because it rarely does. Protect your freedom, your individuality, and your peace of mind. Real love doesn't need chains, it needs trust and freedom to grow. The sixth red flag to look out for is dishonesty. Trust is the foundation of every healthy relationship, and dishonesty cracks that foundation one lie at a time. At first, lies may seem small, like saying they were busy when they weren't, or hiding little details about where they went. But dishonesty is like rust on a bridge. It starts small, invisible, and harmless, but over time it weakens the entire structure until collapse is inevitable. Imagine you're building a house, and the builder decides to cut corners with cheap materials, assuring you it's fine because you won't notice. The house might stand for a while, but eventually the cracks show. Similarly, in dating, dishonesty might remain hidden for months, even years, but eventually it comes crashing down. Studies in relationship psychology reveal that once trust is broken, it is extremely difficult to rebuild, and even when repaired, it never returns to its original strength. Everyday scenarios highlight this red flag. For example, if your partner says they're working late, but you later see them tagged at a party, that's not a harmless fib, it's a sign of deception. Another example is when someone tells different stories to different people about the same situation. Inconsistency in words is often a clue to dishonesty. And dishonesty isn't limited to cheating, it can include financial lies, hiding past relationships, or pretending to share your values when they actually don't. Oprah Winfrey once said, "Truth allows you to live with integrity. Everything else is a lie." This applies to dating more than anything else. A partner who lies, even in small ways, is showing you that they value convenience over honesty. And here's the most dangerous part. Once dishonesty becomes a pattern, it creates a culture of doubt. You begin to second-guess everything they say, and instead of peace, the relationship breeds anxiety. Healthy love requires transparency, being able to trust that what your partner says matches what they do. If you feel like you're always fact-checking their stories or piecing together half-truths, don't ignore it. Dishonesty is not a phase, it's a red flag that points directly to heartbreak ahead. Protect your peace of mind by walking away from lies. Remember, real love doesn't hide, it stands proudly in the light of truth. The seventh red flag in dating that you must take seriously is emotional unavailability. At first it can be hard to spot because emotional unavailability often hides behind charm, humor, or even intense attraction. But over time, you begin to notice the gap. Your partner is physically present but emotionally absent. You try to open up about your day, your fears or your dreams, and their response is always shallow, dismissive, or vague. It feels like you're pouring water into a bucket with no bottom. No matter how much you give, nothing comes back. This is not because you're asking for too much, it's because they're giving too little. Emotional unavailability can take many forms: avoiding deep conversations, shutting down when conflict arises, or deflecting intimacy with distractions like work, social media, or casual fun. Think about an everyday example. Imagine texting someone a heartfelt message, only to get a one-word reply like "okay." That sinking feeling of being unheard. That's what emotional unavailability feels like in dating. Research in psychology shows that emotionally unavailable people often struggle with attachment issues or unresolved trauma, making them unwilling or unable to form genuine closeness. But here's the key: while you can feel compassion for their struggles, it's not your responsibility to fix them. Relationships are not therapy sessions, they require mutual effort. A partner who consistently refuses to engage emotionally leaves you feeling lonely even when you're together. Oprah once said, "You can't give yourself fully to someone who isn't fully present." And she's right. If you find yourself constantly craving emotional connection that never comes, recognize it as a red flag. Love should feel like a partnership, not a one-sided effort. Don't settle for someone who gives you breadcrumbs when you deserve the whole loaf. Emotional unavailability doesn't magically disappear over time. It remains until the person decides to work on themselves. Protect your heart by seeking someone who shows up not just physically, but emotionally, fully and consistently. The eighth dating red flag to watch for is lack of accountability. Accountability means taking responsibility for actions, words, and choices. Without it, relationships collapse under the weight of blame games and denial. A partner who refuses to admit mistakes, constantly shifts blame, or plays the victim in every situation is waving a massive red flag. Think about an everyday example. You're late to meet a friend, and instead of apologizing you say, "Well, traffic was bad, and honestly you should have picked a better place." That's deflection, not accountability. Now imagine dating someone who behaves like this all the time. Every argument becomes a cycle of them avoiding responsibility while making you feel guilty. Over time, you begin to doubt yourself, wondering if you're the problem, when in fact you're simply carrying the weight of their refusal to own up. Research in relationship psychology confirms that accountability is one of the strongest predictors of long-term relationship success. Couples who admit mistakes, apologize, and work to improve build stronger trust and resilience. On the other hand, partners who refuse accountability create resentment, distance, and emotional exhaustion. A common example in dating is when someone forgets your birthday or an important date, and instead of apologizing says, "Well, you make too big a deal out of things anyway." This isn't just carelessness, it's disrespect disguised as blame shifting. Oprah Winfrey once noted, "Real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that nobody's going to know whether you did it or not." Accountability is integrity in action. When it's missing, love becomes a battlefield where one person always feels wrong, no matter the truth. Healthy relationships are built on two people willing to look in the mirror and admit, yes, I messed up and I'll do better. If your partner can't do that, you're not in a partnership, you're in a performance where you play both roles, the lover and the scapegoat. Recognize this early, and remember, love without accountability is a recipe for endless frustration. Choose someone who takes responsibility, not someone who runs from it. The ninth red flag you should never ignore is toxic negativity. Every relationship goes through ups and downs, but there is a big difference between sharing struggles and living in constant negativity. A partner who always complains, criticizes, or sees the worst in every situation drains the joy out of love. Negativity is contagious. It spreads like smoke, filling the room until it suffocates the people inside. Imagine going out for a simple dinner. You're excited, the atmosphere is warm, but your partner spends the whole evening complaining. The food is terrible, the waiter is slow, the music is too loud. Instead of enjoying the moment, you walk away heavy, carrying their gloom. Now multiply that by weeks and months, and you'll see how toxic negativity slowly eats away at the bond. Psychology studies reveal that couples who focus excessively on negative aspects are far more likely to break up, not because life is bad, but because their perspective makes it unbearable. In dating, early signs of this red flag include constant criticism of you, your friends, or your dreams. For example, if you share your ambition to start a new business and your partner responds with, "That's stupid, it will never work," that's not realism, it's discouragement. Negativity also shows up as chronic complaining about life without ever seeking solutions. Instead of lifting you, they weigh you down. Oprah once said, "Surround yourself only with people who are going to lift you higher." In love, this means choosing a partner whose energy fuels your growth, not one who poisons it. A healthy partner may acknowledge problems, but they also look for solutions and celebrate the positives. A toxic partner, on the other hand, keeps you stuck in a cycle of pessimism. Remember, dating is not just about finding someone attractive, it's about finding someone whose energy makes your life brighter, not darker. If you notice persistent negativity, treat it as a warning. Love should inspire hope, not feed despair. Protect your joy by walking away from toxic negativity before it dims your light completely. The 10th and final red flag that will save you from heartbreak is rushing the relationship. At first, being swept off your feet feels exciting. Someone showers you with love, promises a future within weeks, and talks about soulmates on the second date. It feels magical, but beware, real love takes time to grow. When someone rushes the relationship, it often hides insecurity, desperation, or manipulation. Think of it like planting a seed. If you water it daily and let nature take its course, it grows into a strong tree. But if you try to pull it upward to grow faster, you kill it. In dating, rushing creates the illusion of closeness without the foundation of trust and understanding. Everyday examples are easy to spot. They say "I love you" within days, push for exclusivity before you're ready, or talk about marriage before you truly know each other. At first it feels flattering, but over time you may realize they are more in love with the idea of a relationship than with you. Research in relationship psychology shows that couples who pace their relationships, taking time to know each other's values, communication styles, and goals, are more likely to build lasting bonds. On the other hand, relationships that move too fast often burn out just as quickly.
Rushing also puts pressure on you to ignore red flags. Instead of observing their behavior over time, you feel forced into quick decisions, and that's exactly how manipulators trap their partners, by speeding up intimacy before you have time to see the truth. Healthy love is never in a hurry. It builds slowly, layer by layer, with patience and trust. Oprah Winfrey once noted, "True love is not about quick promises, but consistent actions over time." If someone is pushing you to rush what should grow naturally, recognize it as a red flag. The right person will never pressure you. They'll give you time, space, and freedom to grow together. Don't mistake speed for passion. Choose patience, because love that lasts is love that takes its time.